joining us.
Hi.
Oh, thank you guys for being here. This is going to be...
Of course.
Okay, so first of all, we're here to talk about your amazing new book, Party People. You guys are party people. It's how you describe yourselves. How did you meet? I know there was some queso dip involved in the story. What's the deal?
Of course, that's how all good origin stories begin. Yeah, we met about 10 years ago at the most fun party you could ever attend, which is a presidential debate party. And how it went was Courtney was there. We had mutual friends, and she was making her world famous queso, as you do when you are a Texan through and through. And I am a huge lover of melted cheese, but I didn't realize that there's like certain degrees to when a queso is done. And in this case, it's having lots of mix-ins in it. So she was at the stove. I came over and was like, "What's that?" And like put a chip in it before it was finished. And Courtney was like, "Damn, this girl is cool." The way that she just burst
I
in
knew
here.
immediately we would be best friends, obviously. That much was clear.
That's where it all began.
Okay, and then at some point, you guys, like, this friendship turned into a co-venture on a book that you wanted to write together.
Well, there
Yeah.
were
The
many
queso to
twists
cookbook
and turns.
pipeline is very real. Yeah, that also came out of just like our life of. Courtney can speak to when that turn happened where we started actually working together, but up until that point, we had probably a solid like 8 years of just throwing parties. Like, I come from a long line. My mom's an event planner. It's like in my blood to throw really outrageous parties. Courtney has a similar mind to me and is also just like always down for a good time. And so the two of us together made our friend group just sort of explode with great parties. And then I guess you can say when it kind of...
The switch to turning the parties into work happened.
I guess there's 2 points in my mind when that happened. But
Well, I think the first time we worked together was on Lessons in Chemistry. I was the culinary producer and did all the food styling and was the hand double for it. And when
risking her fingers and life,
yes,
to chop onions so that I could go to bed.
Yes. But it was the first time we had actually worked together. Like, she saw me in my element, I saw her in her element, and it was really cool. Because how often do you really? Well, I guess you all work together, but how often do you go to work? How often do you go to work with like your best friend and see how truly badass they are? And it became clear how each of our talents worked so well together, and we knew with the success of Lessons in Chemistry that we obviously wanted to keep it going. What else can we do? And so we did that.
And so we turned to the most successful venture we had other than Lessons in Chemistry, which was our annual hot dog festival, which is in my parents' backyard. And it is something this upcoming year will be our 5th year. And we've definitely outgrown my parents' backyard at this point. But we started talking a lot about, you all know, you work here. There's a lot of content in the world. There's a lot of people making things, and everybody's got a hot take or a cold take or a mid take or whatever. They got takes. And for us, we were like, we don't need to just add to the noise of all of this. What is it that matters to us? And so we started talking about how important throwing parties were to us. And it's not just about letting loose and maybe getting hungover, even though that is part of it. The other part is that these are the ways that we celebrate our accomplishments. It's how we let off steam and complain to our friends about the things that are hard. And it's our way of acknowledging our accomplishments in the passing of time. And so we're pro acknowledging our birthday. We are pro like acknowledging that like you should definitely have a party if you broke up with somebody who's an idiot and you should have broken up with them a long time ago. I've never done that. And so with that, we were like, can we take this sort of like soapbox philosophy and put it into something that's really fun and free you a little bit of the need to feel perfect, because the books that we love that were about parties and hosting are so aspirational, but they're not necessarily the most inviting because you feel like you have to be a little bit more buttoned up than we know how to be.
We do not know how to be buttoned up.
We're working on it, but we're not there yet. And so we wanted to kind of take all of that and be like, okay, we are Martha Stewart's neurodivergent stepchildren. And like, how do we take that, like the part of us that wants to be Martha and the part of us that's actually just Garfield, and put it into a book that can maybe help you, whether you have thrown a bunch of parties before or you are new to throwing parties and you're like, maybe I want to acknowledge my birthday this year. Like, this is what the book is for.
How did you figure out what your roles were going to be in this process of, because there's a lot in there. There's photography, there's the recipes, there's lots of fun sort of anecdotes in there. As the two of you were kind of working together to create this one product together, how did you kind of figure out?
Well, I think it was pretty clear from the start. And like, again, because we had been throwing parties already so many times, and like, I am a professionally trained chef and have worked in many kitchens. And so I'm
not an idiot. So I'm not going to be like, let me show you how to do it.
So like, clearly I like took the lead on a lot of the food stuff, whereas Brie grew up in a household, her mom was an event planner. She had watched like her mother like showed her the way, the truth, and the life of all the ways to do that. Mm-hmm. She's also like a director. So like, who else would be better to like direct a party and like do all of like the decorations and the invites? And so it was just so clear and natural. And we didn't even really ever have a conversation about it. We were just like, get in your lane and let's go.
Yeah, exactly. And now it's like, I think the reality is that because we had actually thrown so many parties, and guess what, there's a lot of logistics in that when you're trying to throw like a murder mystery party for 75 people, that we had been through this a bunch of like, we know what our process is, which is like, we meet up, we go, oh, I got this great idea. Let's meet up. Let's talk about it. We come up with our menu. We come up with like, oh, what if we did this? What if we did that? And then we have our shared notes, because I have a hard time with anything other than a shared note.
Don't tell them about Google Drive. How you deal with Google Drive.
Can someone in here show me how to use the Google Drive? I would really love.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
This is actually the perfect
times.
audience for me to say, can someone please help me? Because she sends it to me in a text. I click on it, I look at it, and then it goes away forever, and I don't know where it is.
I love it so much. I love preaching the gospel.
So once this book is out, that's the next thing, is we're literally taking out our laptops, and she's going to give me the step-by-step, because I can't. I can do a lot of things, and I can't do that. So anyway, we have a shared note. I'm sorry, Google, but I'm getting there. And we have our checklist, and we divvy up the responsibilities along with grocery lists, all of that. We figure out budget, all of that. And so, to lead that into a tip that you can take from our life, don't be afraid to have a co-host, and don't be afraid to ask for help. That's like one of the biggest things. And if there's a part of you that's like, oh, I don't want to, I would just say, why? Is it something that your mom taught you, or your grandma taught you, your grandpa taught you, your dad taught you, that you're not supposed to ask for help? Let's undo that, because people are actually very willing to help, and it will make you enjoy your party so much more if it feels like a shared experience.
Let's talk about parties. That is one of your areas of expertise. Describe objectively the best party you have ever been to.
That we've thrown, or that somebody threw us?
You can answer however you like, but.
Oh, there's no rules, huh? Mm-hmm. The best party we've thrown was the murder mystery party, in my opinion. The best party I've attended was, I don't remember what year, but I was in Dallas for the Super Bowl, and Patron threw a carnival party. And I remember like half of it. But I do remember there was like a ring toss on Patron bottles, and there was like bumper cars, and like it was a full carnival. I've never seen anything like that. That was like a time, when we did like massive like activations.
Oh yeah. Mine, obviously, murder mystery goes down in history as the best mystery party. I like to rhyme. But as far as attending, I still don't know how I ended up at this party, but it was like, I live in LA, as does Brie, and it was the Oscars, and I somehow ended up in like the coolest party. There's this one party every year, after party for the Oscars. And I was just like, wow, I can't believe I'm here. Look at all these famous people everywhere. And then I was like, whoa, look at that guy over there in the cape with the cane. He really looks like Prince. And then I was like, oh my God, that is Prince. I was in the same room with Prince.
Yeah, that's hard to tell.
I feel like that's huge. Yeah. That's by far the coolest party.
That's like,
I was within 50 feet of Prince.
A+ party cred. I
yeah.
feel like. Yeah. Okay. What is the most avoidable party foul that most hosts make?
I'll take this one.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Just being too nervous and high strung. Like, if you're gonna throw a party, trust me, we get it. It can be very nerve wracking, but try to find like a peaceful place within yourself, because your attitude is gonna be contagious. So if you're stressed out when your guests arrive, they're gonna be stressed out. So whatever you have to do to make yourself less stressed, whether that's ordering a pizza, I feel like I'm getting a weird feedback.
I just have hair in the microphone.
Oh, thank you.
Help?
Yes. Anyway,
No.
Whether it's ordering pizza or having your friends bring something, or being like, hey, you're going to help me clean up later. Whatever you have to do to make yourself feel better and enjoy the party, do that and be okay with it. because that's going to make the party the best party.
Yep. Yeah, lighten up, basically.
Yeah.
How did that work? A murder mystery party seems like it's like
We didn't
you're
lighten up with
layering
that.
two different-
Yeah, no.
We did not take
that
our
one actually
advice.
broke us so badly that the final chapter in this is called After Party People, which is like aftercare, because we were so. I said to Courtney, we were like laying in my backyard the morning after that party, and I was like, I feel like I drank a bottle of whiskey and rode every single roller coaster like 15 times, and all we did was host a party for 5 hours. Like it was a lot, and it made me think about these larger gatherings that we're all used to throwing, like say Thanksgiving, and I was like, I could do a whole TED Talk on why Thanksgiving is only once a year, and it's for exactly how I feel right now, which is like, we don't need to, and this book is part of why we're talking about this, is it's like, not every party has to be the biggest party in the world. Like a party, we have a whole chapter for a party of 2 or a party of 1, which is arguably the most important party you can throw. And if we think about it that way, it makes sense that, like, of course, a 75-person costume party that you're completely in character. And we also decided that what would be a great idea? Let's recipe test like 6 recipes from the book at the same time. So stupid. Don't do that. And so when you think about it that way, you're like, oh, this makes sense. Like, there can be the party that is like such a big push that there's this like, there's the other side of the coin, and that's okay. That's why we have a smoothie recipe for you. And it still is my favorite party. It's our favorite party we've ever thrown, but it also was, it's exhausting.
We won't do it like that again next time.
No, that's exactly right.
There's something in the introduction, and I'm jumping around a little bit here, but I think it's relevant to what you were just talking about and the idea of the sort of spirit of the book, which is you wrote, our goal is to help you get so deep in the moment that you forget to post about it on social media. The things on our phones don't matter, but the people in front of us do. Can you talk a little bit about why you wanted to include that in there and sort of how you navigate that for yourselves?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think like we've kind of gotten to in this place where we've forgotten how to be together in real life, and it's really, as great as our phones are, as great as technology is, don't come for us, but it's important to set your phones down and be in the moment and not be like, okay, I'm in the moment, but I want to make sure it looks good so I can take a photo and post it on Instagram. Like, we often ask our guests to check their phones at the door so that you can be more present. And I think like that's something that we've kind of gotten away from and are losing as a society in the world. And I think it's important for us to like bring a little bit of that back, you know?
I think people feel safer when they don't feel like there's the risk of phones being out. I think people can be, depending on the type of party, like one party that's one of my favorites, and it's one of the simpler parties you can do, is called brag and complain. And it really is just that. It's like, you can just do snacks. You could order a pizza, or like how we used to do it is you go to a steakhouse and you get a steak and a dirty martini. And the only thing that you and your friends and or family, if you want to include them in it, is the only thing you're doing is bragging or complaining. And everybody kind of just like, as it comes to them, like, oh, I got a complaint, and oh, I got to brag. And it kind of will start off a little awkward. People will be like, are we actually allowed to do this? Because like society says we're not supposed to. But as time goes, people, and maybe the martini helps, it like, it starts to open up, and like everybody starts to say things. And I think people are going to be more likely to open up if they don't feel like a phone's coming out, or like a video, someone's going to tape them or take a photo of them, or like brag about the brag and complain. Like, it's okay to like be present in the moment a bit more and not make everything through the lens of how am I going to take a picture of this. And the best case study, again, I'm sorry to bring up Murder Mystery Party, but you're going to hear me talk about this for the end of time because I'm proud of it. We had a whole thing, like one of our best friends, he's got like one of these like laser cutter things. He's really smart. I don't know how he does that. I can't use a Google Drive, and he can work a laser cutter as like a side project. But he made us this thing that kind of looked like a little locker. And it had these slots that you could put phones in, and we just asked people, if you're comfortable, will you please check your phone at the door? Obviously, it's not locked behind a freaking padlock. Our friends that had small children were like, obviously, keep your phone in your pocket. It's not a big deal. But we found that the party was exponentially better because people, that little bit of you that's like, I'm showing up to this party in a costume, playing a character, like I'm playing Margarita Rocks, a cocktail waitress on a cruise ship, like kind of embarrassing. I heard Kyle laugh. And the part of you that is like, oh no, that's scary, kind of goes away when you realize that like it's all going to die within the realm of the party. And all you're going to remember is the general vibe of what was there.
Yeah. Sort of switching gears a little bit, but also talking about technology. you launched your YouTube channel back in 2020, and as a part of the promotion of the book, you seem to be having a lot of fun creating long-form videos together. Can you talk a little bit about how you approach YouTube differently from the other types of entertainment that you've built a career around, and just what that experience has been like? Involved in this as well?
For sure. I mean, I started the YouTube channel because I realized that I was afraid of being myself publicly. And that is probably part of this whole, like, please don't take pictures of me at my party because I'm embarrassed thing. And so I, for the longest time, had this belief that no one would believe me playing any of these characters if you knew too much about me. If you knew too much about me, then you'll know what's me and what's not me, whatever. And with more time, I've realized that that's silly. I'm changing and growing so fast that character to character, I'm a completely different person. So you can't keep up because I can't keep up. And the other part is like, of course, every character is me, and it's just different levels of me that are going up and down. And so if you dislike a character I play, that hurts a lot less than you just disliking me, obviously. And so I realized I was hiding behind that, and I was getting kind of exhausted by it. And so during the pandemic, I was like, well, what if I pressed on this a little bit more, and I committed to posting a YouTube video every week of me just being myself, like however that is, and see what happened. And the biggest thing that happened was that really nothing happened. Like there was like one video that like kind of had a moment where people like, that it kind of like spun in a direction that I was like, ooh, I didn't expect that video to go that way. But for the most part, after posting a video every day for a year, like it really wasn't that eventful, except people got to know me a little bit better.
And they seem to love it also.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I don't feel like that's my job to say. Yes, people love my channel. But
That's true, but I mean,
it wasn't this crazy thing that I thought it was going to be. And so that has definitely been part of the runway. It was also where I got to show the things that I like outside of acting and outside of character work, which is cooking was like a huge part of that. And so I felt like all of that allowed this runway, which is now, you know, led to this book and led to now making videos with Courtney that showcase us cooking, but also us traveling, because we're really interested in celebrations and cultures all over the world and how other people are gathering outside of California, you know? So it's been wonderful, really. And I think it's such a wonderful thing in a world where like so much of my life has always been about other people hiring me. Ultimately, somebody, even at the level I'm at, it requires somebody up above me saying, Brie's allowed to do that. And I really crave, and it's very necessary for me in order to do that, to feel like I have something that's my own, that I'm the captain of, and that it's up to me, and I'm the boss of that.
what is it like making YouTube videos with someone who's also a director?
It's
film director.
wonderful.
Oh, okay, good.
It's great. I don't have to. No, it's like, and she has such a great eye, and like again, our aesthetic is very similar. Like we didn't argue about anything as far as like what the book was going to look like, the photos. Like we were on point with each other the whole time, and and clearly she's a better speaker than me too.
No.
But
tired.
we're so tired. But it was great because she told me what to do in the same way that like I took the lead with cooking with the YouTube videos. I didn't have to worry about anything. She had it. She's like, "What are we wearing? You're gonna do this, and you're over here." And I'm like, "Yes." It's been wonderful.
That's awesome. There's something controversial that you guys get into in the book, and I think it's a debate that exists in our culture, and that is about whether a hot dog is a sandwich. You guys are very passionate about this from what I've gathered from the book, so I'd like you each to state your arguments
Wait.
for the room here. Yeah.
Before we do, can we just, by show of hands, I'm curious, the audience, raise your hand if you think a hot dog is a sandwich. Don't do anything. Okay.
I'm not making
Okay.
One of you-
Raise your hand
got
if you
tough.
don't think a hot dog is a sandwich.
One of you is going to have a tough job here. Okay.
Thank you.
We're going to see who. We're going to see. But this is your chance to convert or solidify your position.
I firmly believe that a hot dog is a sandwich. By definition, a hot dog is a sandwich. Thank you. Thanks to two people in the crowd.
And I think just because it's the definition doesn't mean it's true. I think a hot dog is and should be allowed to be its own thing, folks. And if we start letting thank you. We start letting hot dogs be sandwiches, what's next? The hamburger? It's going to get out of control. It's too much, and I think we need to let things be as they are.
Just because a hot dog is a sandwich does not mean it's also its own thing, much like all squares are rectangles, and not all rectangles are squares.
See, I'm not a mathematician.
Thank
I
you,
just
all
know
three of you.
But this has been a topic of debate, and it's tough arguing with her, and all of you are going to feel really stupid in a second because she's actually the president of the Hot Dog Appreciation Club. Granted, she invented it, but she's still the president.
And CEO.
And founder.
Yep.
And secretary.
And
basically
and
everything.
boss and vice president.
Of course. So with that, it's a little confusing to argue with the president of hot dogs about what they are, but I feel pretty good about it. I think I'm allowed to have a voice in America. So that's where we're at.
You are.
Thank you. And so because of this debate, we do have a recipe in this book, because if you're looking at the person next to you who said the opposite of what you did and you're like, what kind of world am I living in? I feel really uncomfortable. Don't worry, we have a recipe for you. It is called the hot dog sandwich, a bridge to a better tomorrow. And this is the version of a hot dog is a sandwich that we can agree on, and it's delicious, and it's uniting the country.
Yeah, it's a Reuben, but with hot dogs. And it's delicious.
All right, we're going to end on a rapid fire list of party-related questions, and then we're gonna cook. Okay.
Okay.
Ready?
Yes.
All right. Best dip.
Queso.
French onion.
So what did you say?
French onion.
French onion. Okay. Best cocktail.
Mai Tai.
I'd like Manhattans.
Best dessert.
My grandma's pistachio thing that's like not even real food. It's like pistachio jello and Cool Whip. I'm gonna get a name for it. I gotta figure it out. I don't know what the name is. It's just grandma's pistachio dessert.
Pistachio delight.
Let's call it that. No one will know what that means. Yeah. What's your favorite dessert?
I think the Ritz cake in our book. It is real good.
What is the strangest thing that you brought to a party?
A bad attitude.
The strangest thing, I will say, and it actually became a huge part of why I like to tell people that costume parties are actually the easier party to throw than a non-costume party, is I was once invited to a costume party and I was the only person that showed up in a costume, which sounds horrifying, and at first I thought it was, but then I realized as somebody that can get a little nervous, it was not a group of friends that I was very close with. It was amazing because I had an instant conversation starter the entire night, and I also looked like the really brave, cool, weird one at the party.
Well, what was the costume?
I was dressed as Daisy. It's a kind of obscure Nintendo character.
Okay. That's also a conversation, I suppose. What is the strangest thing someone else has brought to your party?
A bad attitude.
No bad attitudes at your parties.
I actually don't know. We've had some interesting booze brought to our party.
Lots of interesting booze.
I'm sure we have had some strange things brought to our party.
Oh, I know what.
Yeah.
The hot dog martini.
Oh, that's true.
Our friend Josh brought to our last hot dog festival a hot dog washed martini. A dirty hot dog water martini is what he called it. But it was delicious.
Actually, it was good.
It was really good.
But
He served it up.
He was really nervous about it. And so we talked about it recently because I was like, that is one of the coolest things you can do when you're going to a party, much like I was saying about wearing the costume, is he showed up to a party that's large, that he doesn't know anybody, and he came in with the weird booze that was like, oh, it tastes, and he was so scared about it. He knew my favorite cocktail, and he brought that batched as well in case that went sideways.
Nice.
But it didn't.
What is the weirdest party game that you've ever played? And please remember that this is being live streamed, and my mom might see it. So.
The weirdest? Oh gosh. Well, my family does a lot of odd things. Our Easter now has turned into Deal or No Deal. So basically, there's like a really intense Easter egg hunt, but the hunt is not for eggs; it's for the cases that have. I come from my mom, okay? And then we play Deal or No Deal. So that's pretty odd. And I'd say maybe second to that, and Courtney knows because she was inaugurated this last year. My family also does like a multi-day 4th of July. Like it's like 4 days of like insanity. And the first night is glow games. And it starts with like a massive, extra large size of battleship. But the parts in the battleship are shot glasses, and so if the person gets your spot on the battleship, someone on the team has to do a shot.
That is incredibly elaborate. I thought you were gonna say like limbo or something.
We got hammered.
Oh, no. Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
There's no
And then
other
we had to
way.
play glowing badminton afterwards.
You have to.
And I was so bad at it because I was so drunk.
Yeah.
All right, last one. What is your go-to karaoke song?
Mother by Danzig.
Burned by Usher.
Those could not be more different. All right, let's go and let's cook some food over here.
Okay, great.
So what recipe are we doing right now?
Thank you. All
Yeah,
right,
we're doing two very simple recipes from the book. We won't be here long, don't worry. We're doing the tonado and the miso deviled eggs.
with tonado on them.
Yeah.
So we're just going to kind of talk you through it because it's a very simple recipe. The tonado is basically like a tuna puree. Do you guys raise your hand if you know what tonado is? It's like it's an Italian dip. It can be used as a dip. It can be used on top of things. We like to put it on top of deviled eggs. There's another recipe in the book where it's on top of sliced tomatoes with fried capers. It's quite delicious.
Very nice.
This is the finished product. Is there a camera so you can see or no?
I love that you think there's a camera above us.
Yeah.
Here, I'll just show you. This is the finished
Yes,
product.
it's the finished
It's a strange gray color, and that's how it's supposed to be. It's tuna. All you do is you add tuna, capers,
Here,
garlic.
Pour it in.
Yeah.
Act like we're doing it.
Yeah, pretend like this is a blender, because you're really gonna blend it together. So you add some tuna to the blender, some capers to the blender. Are you doing the air quotes?
This is a blender.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Garlic, lots of garlic. A little bit of chopped anchovies, except you don't really have to chop them because
They're going in the blender.
they're going in the blender. Some olive oil. And I will say, like, the tuna that you use, make sure you use tuna packed in olive oil. And yeah, use a good quality tuna. Like,
It's
there's
basically the entire recipe.
exactly. And then tons of lemon juice. And it will need some salt, but not a ton of salt because the anchovies are so salty and the capers. And then I'm gonna blend this up.
And tell them how long this will keep for in their fridge.
I'm so glad you asked.
Yeah.
It will keep for approximately 2 weeks.
Wow. That's incredible.
That is longer
Yes.
than you would expect.
It's exactly right. Yeah, and that's part of why. So a lot of these recipes, all the recipes in the book, we have things, little boxes at the bottom, which tell you what you can prep ahead, what's freezable. Because looping back to the beginning of all this, like, why did we make this book? So that you can actually enjoy a party you throw. And one of those things is being able to prep your food properly so that by the time your guests show up, you're not scrambling. I mean, let's be real, you're probably still be scrambling.
A little bit.
But like in a fun way. Like, you're like, oh my God, hi, everybody's here, I'm so busy. But like, not like I don't know. I don't know what to do. I couldn't act out.
No, you're great.
Yeah,
That
great.
was perfect. You should get another award for that.
Thank you.
But I actually have an addendum because I just checked the recipe and it's not 2 weeks, it's 3 days.
That is a pretty
I
Okay.
I always say
You should
2
check
weeks.
the book for the actual facts on this
This
one.
is the last day of our press tour and our brains are literally deviled eggs right now.
Yeah. Okay, so then for the deviled eggs, yeah, imagine you blended that up. Then for the
I did. It's right
It's
here.
right here. Perfect.
Wow.
Then for the deviled eggs, we have, you're gonna boil your eggs. Let's start there. You're gonna slice your eggs. You're gonna scoop out the yolk of said eggs. You're gonna mix them in a bowl with some mayo.
Mayonnaise.
Do you want to say how much it is? Does it matter?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
guys can read the book, it's fine.
Yeah, it's in the book, but I'll just
Mayo-
tell you. For 12 eggs, it's 1/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise, 3 teaspoons of white miso paste, 3 tablespoons of rice wine vinegar, 2 teaspoons of spicy Dijon mustard, which that's a lot of mustard. A 1/2 teaspoon of soy sauce,
Yep.
kosher salt, and then we're gonna mix that all together in a blender or food processor until it's like this. And then you're gonna wanna chill it for a second because it'll be kind of like loose. So you wanna put it in the fridge and chill it for a little bit so it firms back up. And then pipe it into the eggs. And what you can do, again, speaking of prepping ahead of time, you can get the eggs ready to go halved. You can make the filling and have it in the bag ready to go. And then just before your guests come, pipe it into the eggs.
And for this bag, just to go again back to basics, if you're like a cool like baking girly, like you probably have one of these, but if you're not, you just put it in a Ziploc bag and cut the tip of it.
Yeah.
That's like, I don't know, maybe I unlocked a memory for you. It's like, it was a memory for me. I was like, oh, my mom used to do that when I was a kid.
It's so good. It's so smart. So then just pipe it in, and then the wonderful thing about these eggs, why they're so delicious, besides the miso, is you just put a little bit of the tonado on top. It sounds kind of like a weird combo, but I promise it's real good.
We're
Our friend
professionals.
Mo tasted these when we were recipe testing them, and she considers herself an egg connoisseur, and she was like, "These are the best deviled eggs I've ever had."
Oh, yeah.
I know.
That's the tonato, and then we're gonna put
Crispies, right?
Yeah, the frizzled shallots on top.
And I'm afraid to ask you how long these keep for.
2 weeks. No, these don't leave them out for that long. I would say leave them out. I mean, we've all had
them out
deviled
for-
eggs
for a
before.
couple hours.
Yeah, and then in the fridge they'll last. I'm gonna go with 3 days.
Yep. Great.
You'll know if they've gone bad.
That's actually true. Sniff
You
test of
will
your
know.
friend. Here's them. I'm so sad that we don't have that overhead camera that Courtney was seeking.
They're so tasty. We hope you.
They look great.
You're about to try them all, right?
are.
We're gonna
We're about
have
to
some
try
out there
them
for
Yep,
you.
exactly.
Okay, we've got a question already on the screen right here.
All right.
Oh.
Cool.
Wow,
Okay.
we're reading
Wow,
the internet.
Google, you guys really know how to do it.
It's true. Okay, my initial excitement for hosting can morph into menu anxiety when trying to cater to all my favorite people's different needs, gluten-free, vegetarian, I hate cilantro, and so on.
Yeah.
What is your core philosophy for building a party menu delicious for everyone, but also doesn't overwhelm the host and lead to a ton of waste? Are there any hero recipes you consider your secret weapon?
This is a great question.
A very good question. I'll take this one.
Go for it.
I think always, obviously if someone has an allergy, that's something to take very seriously. If like someone's gonna die if they eat a sesame seed, don't have sesame seeds on the menu. So I think usually what Brie does is if we're having a party, we have our guest list and it's like, okay, does anyone have any really bad allergies? Let us know what it is. I don't think if it's like something that they'll literally die, then if they eat it, then it's like, okay, we're not having any of those. But if someone's just like a vegetarian, I think it's fine to have, you can still serve meat, but have like a couple of good vegetarian options. If someone's just like, I don't like onions, I'm just gonna be like, pick the onions out. I'm not gonna like not put onions in everything. The cilantro with soap, tasting like soap thing is, I'm kind of on the, I'll put cilantro on the side. I love cilantro. I don't think people should be not given cilantro just because one person who's coming to the party thinks it tastes like soap. But I also know how bad that must taste, so I don't like cover everything in cilantro. I'll just put it on the side and people can add their own cilantro.
The other really simple thing to do is you make your little menu cards, like go back old school Martha Stewart style and like label what everything is, and you can put on there gluten-free, vegetarian, cilantro haters free or whatever. And like, then you've kind of got it figured out. But, you can't make everybody happy. And so it's like, you're just going to have to do the best that you can and know that like, we talk about it in the book too, where it's like, if you're going to have like this big, like barbecue, slow roast pork rib blowout, like maybe don't invite your vegetarian friend or like tell them to bring something because this is clear what this event is. But if it's something that's like this broad scope thing and you're making a bunch of dishes, it's easy to kind of at least plan some things out or have some snacks available so that everybody's happy.
Yeah, it's actually, I think, a lot easier than most people think. There's almost always, at least a lot of vegetarian stuff. A lot of our recipes are accidentally vegan too. So once you start planning the menu, you're like, oh, this isn't as big of a deal as I thought, especially when you're like, friend who hates onions, sorry, you're on your own.
Yeah.
And as far as any hero recipes, a secret weapon. Honestly, these deviled eggs, people freaking love them, and the Ritz cake. But that's more of a dessert. I always like to have a really simple salad available for those, and like bread and butter.
Crudité, bread and butter. I'm also a huge fan of bar snacks, which is not something that you have to make, but it's something I always keep on hand. It's just like the simplest thing in a pinch. Just have some potato chips, some nuts, assuming nobody has a serious nut allergy, and some olives. And just having those out too can really make people happy.
Yeah, and our ranch dip. We have a ranch
ramen
dip
ranch
in
dip.
there. It's so good.
We're gonna go live question on this side first.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. First, want to say thank you all for coming today. I came here expecting some cooking recipes and got some terrific party planning advice. So thank you.
Thanks for having us.
I want to ask if you could comment a bit on party fouls. Maybe thinking about like you've said a lot of do's, but what about like the do-nots?
For a host or for guest?
Either.
Are you worried that you did something wrong?
He's just a little bit not on the list.
Yeah. Okay. party fouls are an interesting one because ultimately part of our belief is that the party can actually be the sacred space where you're allowed to make a mistake within reason. Like somebody might spill something, somebody might get a little too drunk, and it's okay to allow us the opportunity to learn from our mistakes within a party setting, because where else are we going to learn them? But of course, there are always times when you're throwing a party where maybe there's an argument that happens. I have been the person that has had a bit too much to drink before, and I've slammed my hands on the table because I'm trying to make a point. Yeah, we both have done things like that. And so those types of things are like de-escalate, separate, and maybe the party's over, or maybe not, or maybe someone just needs to get an Uber and go home. Those types of things. And then the other party fouls is also like some of them are accidental, and that's on the host to figure out. So if you're a no-shoes house, that's totally fine, but make that clear when people enter so you don't have the thing when people are like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed, I have my shoes on, I didn't know. Maybe have a basket with socks or like steal slippers from a hotel and like have those available for people. And we like to just make it really clear for people when they're entering the house. So it's like, this is where your shoes go, these are the slippers. Can I get you a drink? I like to tell people where the cups are, where the water is, where the ice is. And it's like, so forever, never ask me again. You are free to do that. And just set it up so that people actually feel like they know what the rules are, where the bathroom is. That's part of why like parties that have a theme tend to be really helpful, even though you'd think that's the hardest thing to do if you're first starting out throwing parties. It's actually great because it gives people really clear parameters.
Yeah.
Like we are here to play this one board game.
Yeah.
The end, And
I also think really the only, for me, unforgivable party foul is just someone who's mean for no reason. Like, don't be mean. We have enough meanness in the world. Just be nice.
What about just like really sarcastic?
Sarcasm is great. I love sarcasm.
I don't know about it.
Thank you.
We're gonna go over to this side.
Hi. Also,
Hi.
thank you for coming on the end of your tour. This is very well timed. I'm newer to the LA area. I love hosting, but I'm having trouble getting past the initial who do I invite to this first gathering. So tips you have for getting maybe disparate groups together. And then once I eventually have my friends, bringing in a new person or new people to those communities.
Love this.
Very good. I think, first of all, don't feel like you have to have like a big, huge party all at once. It can be a small party. It can just be one or two people, and you're having them over to like watch a movie. Like I think start small. Don't feel like you need to have like 20 people at your house all at once, and then slowly build from there. Or have one or two people come over and tell them each to bring a friend. And we found, again, like having a small little theme will unite people so quickly. It'll give everyone something to talk about, something to bond over. And that really is a great icebreaker.
Mm-hmm. And I think if you think about what is your bandwidth, so if you're the type of person that's like, I want to have a dinner party, my goal is to do one every month, set the parameters of like, okay, these are how many seats I'm willing to fill at that table. And you can kind of pace it out, rotate it out. I have some friends who do these like trips where they don't tell anybody who's coming, and all you do is say yes or no if you're gonna come, and then you show up and you meet all these new people, and it's really fun. And so that's really inspired me too, where like you can make that the theme. You can be like, it's a mystery guest party. You never know. And it's like you curate it. And again, I find that the thing that people think to go to is a dinner party, but I actually think dinner parties are one of the harder things on a host if you're cooking the meal, because it's hard to be in the kitchen preparing, say, a multi-course meal and present at the table. That's hard. So even if it's a show that you guys all rally around, or you can go, I did a bachelor or bachelorette viewing party that was super fun, and it allowed for this like open container that fluctuated. Sometimes there was fewer people, sometimes more people. People could bring a friend. Actually, one of my friends found love and is now married with 2 kids from that. Yeah, so parties are really powerful.
Yeah, they are.
They've got a good logistics question for you here. Any strategies for hosting a party as a single? I'm afraid something will burn in the kitchen while I take the time to answer the door.
Make a casserole. Mm-hmm. That's always our answer. Mm-hmm. Make a casserole. For things that are like dinner party related, we really say like do a roast, like a roast meat, roast beef. We have a roast beef recipe, roast chicken recipe, and or we have like a lot of casserole recipes. Those are fantastic because that's one of those things that you can wait until all of your guests arrive to get started on it. And then you're not.
Yeah.
And just set a timer on your phone. Not everybody has like sense for the kitchen. And so you just go, okay, Brie and Courtney said it's 45 minutes. I'm going to put it in and set a timer.
Yeah, prep it all in advance, throw it in the oven when the guests get there. Also, I was single for like 7 years, and sometimes I burnt stuff when I went to answer the door, and we all survived. It's okay if you burn something. Truly, don't let that hold you back. Or find a friend to come over a little bit early and be your official door answerer. You know what I mean? Definitely, it's a lot easier if you have like a friend or a lover helping you. But don't feel like you have to do it by yourself.
Another live one. Let's go over there.
Hello.
Hi.
So I have a couple cookbooks, one of which is by Joshua Wiseman. Shout out to fellow YouTube creator. I know you guys have
One
done
of
a
my
collab
friends.
before.
Yep.
So excited to check out yours. Sorry, I'm very tall for this.
You really are. It's
doing a
kind of
great
a nice flex.
I've never had the opportunity to ask. I mean, you guys have to fill a whole book, but if you had to pick like one recipe that's like either your favorite or the one anyone should make in the book, which one would it be?
Ooh, for
dare
you
you.
personally, are you like a sweets guy or a savory guy?
One of each. We'll go one of each.
One of
Okay.
each.
Not a hot dog sandwich either.
The hot dog sandwich. One recipe of each. Well, I'm going to say for the desserts, well, I've already shouted out the Ritz cake so many times, so I am going to say the Pop-Tart peach pie is fantastic. And if peaches aren't in season, like for now, you can also do it with like apples or any seasonal fruit. That's one of my favorite. I would say make that one for sure for the sweets.
And I would say for the savory, it's tough to say, but I think a good entry level is one of the casseroles, maybe like King Ranch.
Yeah, King
The King
Ranch.
Ranch casserole is like really classic. It's really simple. Everybody's gonna love it, and I love that you can freeze it ahead of time. All those types of things, like the recipes that I know, if I'm having like a Sunday, I love a Sunday meal prep day, and I can prep everything and put it in the freezer so that by the time it's party time, dinner time, the next week or whatever, it's ready to go. That's like ideal for me because I'm one of those people that's like busy all the time and then suddenly I have like a moment off. And so it's nice that I can kind of move things around and prep ahead of time.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very timely question right here. Given the time of year it is, what is your favorite spooky food and drink pairing
my
to serve at a
gosh.
Halloween party?
Oh my
And what
gosh.
costume would you be wearing while you enjoy it? And it sounds like maybe
Spooky
something
is my
obscure for you.
favorite.
Yeah, Courtney, you should take this.
Yeah.
Well, so really any drink can be spooky if you put a little dry ice in it. You just have to wait until it fully dissolves before you can drink it, but it's so fun. Or what you can do is you can get like a cauldron, like a punch bowl. We can make the party people punch, for example, and put some ice or water in the bottom of a bowl, put dry ice on top and the cauldron on top of that, and it gets so spooky and smoky. It's the best. And then the other thing, so we have the queso in here. You could put queso in the cauldron and then the dry ice. But also, we do this thing called gostadas, where you get the tortillas, the corn tortillas, and you punch holes in them so they look like a ghost, and then you fry them for the chips for the queso. It's very nice.
And what will we be wearing? I guess just hopefully our Halloween costumes.
Yeah.
Well, what I think they want. Are you ready to reveal that, or is it too?
Well, I'll tell you what I have been for the past 3 years. I'm changing it this year, but remember the movie Splash with Daryl Hannah? So I would splash. I'd wear the I Heart New York shirt that was like super long, and I'd get a really long blonde wig. It's great.
I haven't figured it out yet. We've been on a press tour, guys. I'm sorry. I need to look through my closet, but I'm leaning towards being the Nesquik bunny.
I like that.
Ooh,
You heard it here first.
that is a good one.
Exclusive.
I think we might have time for one more.
Okay.
And so we'll go over here.
Oh, hello.
Hi.
I wish I was here from the beginning. I just saw the sign upstairs, so.
Good.
Well, it was great.
But it's very timely. Like the question asker before, I recently moved to Los Angeles, and we decided to have a party because we're from the Midwest and we have lots of parties. Unfortunately, I looked at the Evite, and there's 60 people that RSVP'd.
How many? Wait, did you invite 60 people, or did they all bring a plus
Like
one?
families and kids and stuff, so 60 individuals will be coming to our house, maybe.
Oh, wow. Okay. And how are you feeling about that?
That's why I came down here.
Okay, good. I'm glad you ran down here. We're here to help. We're here to help. Talk to us. Okay. Which part are you nervous about?
Just the planning and thinking about store-bought versus homemade goods and like just how do I feed everyone. We specifically chose to do after lunch but before dinner time. So it's like
Snacks.
nice, great, yeah, snacks. But like how long would you prep for something like this? And like how much stuff would you task yourself with creating versus like having just like lots of charcuterie, like
What is there a theme for the party? Is it just like generic party? Is it like a Halloween party, or is it just
Like a fall
like
friends
a
and family.
A fall
fall
gathering.
friends and family.
Fall friends and family.
Love that.
It's
I love
honestly
this
friendly.
idea of a fall friends and family.
I think-
We're
I
gonna
think,
take that.
you
It's
know-
not a Friendsgiving, it's a fall friends and family.
fall friends and family? I think you should sit down and be like really honest with yourself and say, what do I have bandwidth for, and do
And what can I
that.
afford?
Yeah, like if you're like, I have bandwidth to make a salad and then just order pizza, then that's perfect. Like, don't feel like you need to do anything more than what you have bandwidth to do. Like, if you end up just doing like a bunch of charcuterie boards, perfect. You know, there's a few, like, not to like be talking about our book, but there's lots of entertaining books that like will give you batched out, like we have batched out punch recipes that you can make ahead of time, and then you just put it out on the table. It's super easy.
And the punch doesn't have to have alcohol in
Yeah.
it. You could have it non-alc. If this is like also a thing where it's kids and stuff too, you can just make it non-alc and then just have the booze on the side, and people can spike their own punch, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what Courtney's saying is right. I mean, we're big fans of saying like, well, first of all, I'd say, do you want 60 people at your house? Because we need to have a separate conversation, which is about the art of saying no, which is I think is a real thing. It's one of the things we get asked all the time is like, what do I do if someone asks for a +1? I'm like, you say no. You say, I'm sorry, but I cannot spend $40 to meet your random friend that you met last week at a bar. Like, it's not, I'm so excited that you're excited about them, but like, that's a no for me. And that is so okay. But if you're actually kind of like, okay, 60 people, this is kind of cool. Okay, it looks like you're like, I'm up for this challenge. Yeah, then I think you go, how can I be present for 60 people? And being present for 60 people might not mean you're in the kitchen the whole time. Sometimes I like a party where I'm in the kitchen a little bit because it gives me a little bit of a break from socializing. So you might want to have stuff like that where maybe it's like you have some pizzas that you're heating up so it gives you something to go in and out of, but also you have things that are out there grazing so you don't feel like you're constantly needing to. And also if you're doing this with anybody else, that you're saying this is family or anybody that you feel close to, I would say if there's somebody that can help you that comes early and helps you set up. And then exit strategy is key. Who's helping you clean up?
Yeah. Big time.
I would say compostable cups are going to be your friend, my friend. Compostable plates are going to be your best friend. And also they even have like these trash cans that are just like pop-up ones that you can just put outside or around so that everything is trashed really easily for you, because it's all fun and games until everyone leaves and you're dealing with cleaning up dishes for 60 people.
Yeah.
I love this party therapy
Yeah.
thing. We're at time. Let's thank Brie and Courtney for being here.
Thank you for
Thank you.
coming.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.